Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I'm very excited because you and I have a long history.
I know.
Wells Adams, you know him from many appearances and The Bartender on The Bachelor, but you had a radio show years ago in Nashville, and I got to do it when I was promoting like some shows at Zany's or something comedy club. Then I was doing one of my first live Juicy Scoops in Nashville. And you came and was my guest. You wore like kind of like a hot leather jacket. Do you remember?
Yeah, I still have it.
It's a little edgy. and then right before the day before the podcast, I was on Instagram and I saw that Jill Zarin. This was like maybe 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
That Jill Zarin was in town in Nashville. So then she joined the podcast, and you say you have a funny Jill Zarin story.
Well, like moms love me. I don't know why, but like the mom demo, I just crush. And so Jill Zarin we're like, in that little green room at Zany's, like backstage, and I'm having a beer and like just explaining, I think, to her why the hell I'm there, like what the hell I'm doing there. And so at some point she was like, and I forget, she has like a really thick accent from what I remember.
Oh yes, Long Island.
Yeah, and it was like,
it's like, it's Jill Zarin.
Yes.
You know what? You're adorable. I like you. You know what you need to do? You know what? You don't have a face for radio. You have a face for TV. Why are you doing this? What's going on? Like, it's a really, like, she, she's my friend, but she treats me like a daughter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's just that pushy, but in the best way.
Yeah,
yes.
She was like, you're cute as a button. I just introduced you to my daughter. My daughter's beautiful. Here, look at her picture. Why don't you DM her right now? And I was like, oh, this is a lot of information.
Allie is the best. She is beautiful. But yes, oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so she was like trying to set me up. And I was like, well, where does she live? Like, I live in Nashville. This is not going to work, Like, and she was like, don't worry about that. And she like was straight up like matchmaking her daughter and I.
Wait, did she have the dog with her? Did she have Ginger?
Yes,
the
I'm
little
pretty sure.
Ginger has passed.
Oh, that's sad.
I mean, Ginger lasted a really long time. Ginger had, oh my God, I just remember with Ginger, during her later years, I stayed with Jill in Miami. No, in this little island. I forgot the name of the island, like in Miami. And Ginger, like, we were sharing a bed together, like at this place, and Ginger like shit right in the bed because it was too high down, and Ginger's little, and she'd gone blind. Anyway, she has a new dog now that goes everywhere. That's healthier.
She literally shit
bossy.
the bed.
Shit the bed next to me, and I go, Jill, and she's like, oh my God, Ginger, I'm sorry, and I was like, ugh, like I was like, I can't believe like. One of the most famous housewife dogs has literally shit between the two pillows. And I mean, I don't like, it's so weird because I've had kids. Like, I will deal with like a baby shit. I just don't. Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on. Okay, so, I mean, I don't even know where to begin because you've had a really great life. First of all, you're engaged to Sarah Hyland.
Yep.
Who's a real delight.
She is.
And I just remembered that I interviewed her for like some magazine years ago on the phone when she was with her other boyfriend. Was she engaged to him?
No.
Oh, okay. And
she dated two different actors.
I just remember talking to her and I was like, I think you're really too young.
Yeah.
Like, this is too serious. Like, I literally said that to her. And then I was like, okay, which mom do you like best?
Yeah.
And she was like, well, Julie, because like she's the one who plays my mom.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, this is a really hard question. I wish you wouldn't ask me this.
Well,
and I was like, I'm just asking like fun.
She's really close with Julie.
Yes.
Like, yeah. She's super close with Julie, super close with Ty.
Yeah.
And then like legit like best friends with Jesse Tyler and his husband, Jess Makita. So it makes sense that she would answer that question then. But like, I wonder how old she was at this, like where she was mentally when.
How old is she now?
She's 28 now.
Okay, no, she was like 21.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just remember thinking, I think this is too serious a relationship. I think I told her that too. And
I bet she agreed with you in some way.
So I think we can all go back and say it's because of me.
Yeah. Thank you.
I got in her head and she said, you know what, maybe this isn't the one.
Yeah.
Let me go explore.
Mm-hmm.
And find the right one.
And then she went slumming with reality TV douches.
Well, let me just talk about how well the Bachelor men are doing with A-list stars.
I know.
You are the pioneer.
I'm a trailblazer.
I really think you are. How did you guys meet?
So
And for me, let me just make sure everyone knows Sarah Hyland is from Modern Family,
Yeah.
Wells Bachelor, and Wells is the bartender on Bachelor in Paradise. But we'll get back into that. Okay, so how'd you guys meet?
yeah, so Sarah plays Haley on Modern Family. She
Right.
plays the oldest daughter of Phil Dunphy.
And are they in the final season?
Yeah,
is
this is
this
the last
final
one.
year? For
Yeah.
sure.
For sure, this is the last one, and we can say that with some certainty because she's now created a different show. That's
We looked that up.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what that show's about?
Yeah, it sounds super dope. I'm
Okay.
really excited about it. Do you want me to do that first and then go into?
Yeah, I want to do that first and then get into the love because I want to
Okay.
know about the new show.
So now everyone knows, but like when her and I first started dating, like her kidney issues weren't
Yes.
like really well known. But yeah, she's had 2 kidney transplants.
Wow.
The first one was from her father, and it failed or went into rejection, I guess
Oh,
is the
no.
correct
Yeah.
term. A couple years ago, that was right when we started like talking and stuff, and then she got her second one from her brother, and so that one's doing great. Like obviously, like a kidney from a younger person
Yeah.
is obviously probably healthier and everything. So like her numbers are great, but the thing about Sarah's, and I think a lot of people don't realize, is that she like lives with, she's basically sick all the time, right? Because she's on this medication that makes her immune system really weak, so her body doesn't reject these foreign kidneys, right?
Right.
So she effectively has like an invisible illness. Like no one knows that she's sick a lot, but she is, and so she wanted to like create a show that kind of like showcased that. So she got together with the writer of The Big Sick, which was a movie that did like really well.
Now, was the writer of that the comedic actor's actual wife? Because wasn't that
Yes.
movie about his?
Yeah, it was about her like going into a coma for like a month or whatever, and then,
And so that woman is still married to the stand-up.
I guess it's
Yeah.
her The Big Sick is about her
Right.
going
her
into
life.
a coma and
Okay.
how her boyfriend dealt with it.
Oh my gosh.
So she got together with her, who's another woman who kind of like lived this like invisible illness thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they got together and they've created a show, and it's like I think it's like loosely based around Sarah's life and this writer's life as well, and like kind of mashed them together. So it's like quasi pseudo biographical.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
exactly. But so like that's the idea, and it's going to be a multicam show, and I get like the pilot's been like approved. It's a push pilot or whatever.
Oh, that's
so that's
great.
exciting. So she's doing that, and I know that that's like a cool thing, and so
That's great that she's getting into producing and all that.
Yeah.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she just did like this will come out in a couple of days, but on Friday her new movie comes out, which is called The Wedding Year, which is about a girl dating this guy. They both get invited to like 7 weddings in the same year. Like when you're 25 to 28, like that's
Yeah.
what happens. You go to all
Right.
these stupid freaking weddings, and so it's like them like going to all these weddings and like dealing with it. And she EP'd that as well as starred in it, so she's kicking ass right now.
That's awesome.
Literally, I am not pulling my weight at all in this relationship, and it's tough. But
Do you really feel that way?
I
Is it hard to be with someone that? Well, first of all, how did you guys meet?
so she similar to like a lot of mid-20s women were obsessed with The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise.
Okay.
So when I was on The Bachelorette, she would live tweet the show, and at some point I said like in the men tell all I said something. I like made 2 like literary references, and I think her tweet was like, "Wow, who knew that like Bachelor guys could read?" You know, like I think that was her thing, and I thought that was funny, so I like responded, and then that was kind of it. And then I went on Paradise, and nothing really happened there. And then when I
You mean you
came,
didn't fall in love with anyone on Paradise?
I didn't, and I think we had talked and then like stopped talking and
Really talking or just like DMing?
like DMing and stuff.
Okay. Not real phone speaking.
No, and then
That's like 8th base nowadays.
yeah, no,
right?
that's tough. That's
Yeah, that's like you're like wow.
Yeah. You FaceTime the mom during that
Yeah.
conversation. And then when they announced me as the bartender, she like freaked out on Twitter and was like, "Oh my god, Wells is the bartender. This is the greatest thing ever. And
now,
then
how many times have you been the bartender on the show?
this is my third season as the
Okay, so the
bartender.
first season, then she freaks.
She
Okay.
freaks, and like I started responding to her.
Now, when she's freaking and responding, are you thinking like, "Oh my God, this girl's so cute," but there's no way like there's something that something could happen here, or you are hopeful?
Yeah, so like the first time we started talking was before I became the bartender. My timeline might be wrong, but it doesn't really matter for the story's sake. I was like telling my sister, I was like, shit, dude, like Sarah Hyland's talking to me on Instagram, like this is crazy. And she was like, dude, she's got a boyfriend, don't be that guy. And I was like, no way, like I totally misread all of this. Not knowing I was living in Nashville. I don't know how Hollywood works, but in Hollywood, you break up with someone and you don't tell anyone for like 4 or 5 months.
Right.
So I had no idea. So I was like, well, dude.
So she was single.
But I didn't know that.
Right, yeah.
So I was like, man, I totally misread all these signals. Like, I need to get on with my life. Like, she's just like a fan of the show or whatever. And so I kind of like just stopped talking to her. Like, it was like effectively like ghosting her. That's not really true, but I was just like, whatever. And then, come to find out, like, down the road, it was like, dude, I was single the whole time. Like, why did you stop talking to me? I was like, well, maybe you should put out a press release, all right, lady?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to be that guy that's, like, trying to go after other dudes' ladies, you know?
Yeah.
So, so that happened, and then finally, like, when I was announced as the bartender, then I knew, then my sister was like...
So you do the whole first season as bartender with nothing.
Yeah.
And are you kind of told that you can't fall for anybody, or could you have fallen for people as the bartender? Or are you supposed to be like neutral, not getting involved in romances?
I think it was both. I think that like Pie in the Sky for production was, for that first season was, I'm off limits, but if someone really comes and like woos me, I can leave with them. You know, like I think it was told to everyone Wells is off limits. But in that world, the only rule in paradise is there are no real rules, you know? And so... And
how did they approach you with it? It's like, hey, we want to do this different thing where we're going to make you one of the, faces of the Bachelor Nation to be kind of a regular on the show. Yeah. Were you so excited? Because, I mean, it is pretty cool. Like, it's like you got to stay in it without, like...
Drama.
Yes, and without, like, and being funny and showing your personality. So it was like a dream come true, really.
Yeah, I mean...
Did you see it like that?
Well, the answer is always no if you never ask, right? So, like, the way it came about was I was like, I want to do that job. Yeah, so, like, they wanted me on the first season, that first season. I was like, I don't know. I don't want to go. I don't want to go to Paradise. Like, I was also, like, emotionally raw from the first season just because that show does a really good job of kind of, like, breaking you down. It's a lot of, like... introspective, like you're just doing therapy for like 4 hours a day because you're just talking about your feelings. And I was like, man, I don't know. I was like, let me be the bartender. That sounds fun. Because I also like bartended when I was on The Bachelorette. Like I made a rule that anytime you got a rose before a rose ceremony, like I got to get you drunk.
Yeah.
Because I used to bartend and wait tables while I was like moonlighting as a radio DJ, right? Like there's no money in radio. So I made this rule because I was the first one to get like a rose before the rose ceremony. So I got wasted. Because once you get a rose before a rose ceremony, like I got on a date, they don't need you anymore.
It's a relief.
Yeah, because you're done until the next week. Like, so there's everyone else is freaking out, but I'm just like, you're just like, and no one was asking you for about interviews, no one was talking to you. So I got super drunk. And then the next guy that got a rose, I was like, we're getting drunk together because we got nothing to do, dude. So then I started making old fashions for, like, it became a thing of, like, if you got your rose before rose ceremony, Wells... and you got to get drunk on his old fashions. So I was like bartending on The Bachelorette. So when Paradise came around, I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that. And I was like, let me be the bartender. Like that'd be fun. And they were like, cool.
You didn't care about the fact that there was some guy that they had cast that was like a very typical Mexican resort type of guy.
I did and I didn't. I don't know if I really was. At that time, they'd only done 2 seasons, so like, I don't know if Jorge's part was that big, and
have you spoken to Jorge since?
Yeah, Jorge and I are cool. So like, what happened was,
Really?
we are, because he's still in the show, like he's still a part of it. So what happened was they were like, listen, we can't do that because Jorge's under contract, and we want you for the show. And I said, okay, cool. And so I was like, well, let me if ever Jorge leaves the show, I'd like to do it. And they were like, fine. So then the next year, because Jorge's an actual employee of Playa Escondida. Like, he's actually
Of the resort.
Of the resort. He just works there. So the next year, he left and started his own tourism company there, because he was kind of famous now in Mexico as, like,
that's great.
the bartender.
Yeah.
So he started his tourism company. So then Paradise was like, or ABC was like, wait, hold on. You have a tourism company? Okay, so now dates go through Jorge, right? So, like, you'll see he did, like, a horseback riding date and, like, a zip lining date.
That's cute.
So he's still in the thing. So when he left, I didn't effectively take his job. He got, like, a cooler job.
Got it.
And someone had to come and fill that role. And so then I came and
good.
filled that role. And as great as Jorge was, I think what I bring to that that beach is my English is a little bit better than his. And I've kind of been through more of these
No, I think you're a
scenarios.
great addition. I actually said that I think Chris Harrison needs to worry. I said that on my show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I actually heard that. Like, someone sent me that. And, okay.
And I like Chris Harrison. He belongs to my country club.
I know.
I think he's a great guy. But I like that there's, like, that... I like the element of you on the Paradise.
Okay, so in, like, Harrison's defense, like, Harrison and I are cool. Like, friendly. We play golf when, like, on off days and shooting and stuff. In his defense, like, in this industry, people can be, like, so threatened and, like, kind of an asshole. Because I'm sure he's heard that a million freaking times. Like, I see it on Twitter all the time. And Harrison has never been anything but, like, super supportive and, like, really helpful. Like, he's been a badass about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if I could be like that. Like, if the roles were reversed, I'd be like, who is this guy? Secondly, Harrison's not going anywhere anytime soon.
I don't want to see him go anywhere.
Dude,
but
he's got
I
the
was
best
just
job in the world.
Yeah, and I think you got to have that element that, you know, I'm going on 20 years. Like, absolutely keep him. It's great.
Yeah.
I was worried for Chris Harrison another time.
Yeah.
Which was when Nick Viall was the Bachelor, and they had him start doing stuff that Chris used to do.
Yeah.
Like, they started him coming out and going, hey, guys, we're going to do something a little different this
Yeah.
time. And I'm like, what? I go, holy shit, what's going on? But I think maybe Chris is so confident. He's like, oh, good, I don't need to, like, get mic'd up today. Great,
Yeah.
whatever. Who gives a shit? You know, which I love that. But, yeah, I was worried about him then, too. I
No.
worry about people.
He's going to be just fine. Like,
Okay.
he has the best job, though, in the world. He, like, walks in, hits his mark, says his 3 things on the golf course. You
Yes,
know?
yeah,
Like,
it's great.
I love that dude so much, man. So, and, like, after my first season, I came to him with, like, a bunch of just, like, career advice, because I was in, obviously, like, this weird flux, trying to figure out, like, what to do with, like, leaving Nashville, my radio career, and he sat me down and, like, gave me a bunch of, like, really cool advice that I'm, like, super grateful for. So even if I think they offered me that job, I think I'd be like, no one can fill those shoes. You
I mean,
know?
I think what's so interesting, because what year were you on as a contestant on The Bachelorette?
It was JoJo's season, so that was, like, 4 years ago.
Oh, that was JoJo's season.
Yeah.
JoJo and her guy, I can see it in my head. I've talked about it on the show. They had the best sexual chemistry I've ever seen of any couple.
Yeah.
And they're still together.
They are.
And they're, like, redoing, like, little Gulfstream houses or something. I don't know.
They've got a second show now.
I'd say good for them.
I know.
Good for them. He, like, shoved her up against a wall once, and I was
know.
like, this is what it's about, okay? So I like, there's certain people now, and I also feel like you were early enough in the game of the explosion of Instagram and this, like, career trajectory of Bachelor people and Bachelorette people. And, like, it used to be you have to win in order to have a career after, or be the second one so you become the Bachelor, Bachelorette, and then you go on Dancing with the Stars, whatever. No, now that you can be, like, kicked off first night and fucking kill it, and go make your appearances, and go have your podcast, and go, you know, sell some tummy tea, and I say go for it. Like, who cares? I get it. But it's sort of interesting, like, where, like, who pops and who doesn't, and then are there anybody that is like, shit, I thought I'd make a career at this after, and now I'm only at 200,000.
Yeah.
What am I going to do, Wells?
I mean, I do think that, and I've said this for a while, like winning is relative in the Bachelor world. You know, I was 8th place, and I think that no one has done Bachelor better than I have. You know.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, fuck you, but you're probably right.
No,
you're marrying a successful TV movie star and producer who's gorgeous. You're
I
right.
get to
You
be
did
the
it the best.
bartender. Like.
Saving face.
Yeah, like
get to be a part of it and still have a love that's not part of it.
Yeah, I mean, like I do think that it's relative for everyone. People like talk to me about like I think people are trying to like replicate like how I did everything, and I was like, man, I think the number one thing you need to remember is do not quit your job. Like all these people quit their jobs because they're like, well, I'll be able to sell, you know, Instagram diarrhea tea for the rest, and like that's not the thing. Like everyone forgets that like 4 months down the road, there's a new crop of people who are going to be even like exponentially more popular than you are, and now you are like not important anymore. So like never quit your like if you can make money off the Instagram thing or your podcast, like super dope, do that. But like continue being like the person that you are, and the people that like have fallen off are the people that like don't do that.
Right.
And then the people that like stick with like they're like Derek is a very good example. He was on this past season. He's like a finance dude in New York.
Wait, that's your best friend.
Yeah, he was my roommate on The Bachelorette too.
And I was going through your Instagram and I found the like the slideshow to music.
Yeah.
And I started to play it and Kelly goes, "Oh, I thought you were playing a promo for a Diane Keaton movie." Well, why? That music was hilarious. How did you choose that music? It was so...
Well, on iTunes, like with the iMovie thing, like nothing is... You can't use like normal people's music. So like they have like... It was like slow jazz. And that's what they used. That was my push for Derek to be the Bachelor. I think I failed on that front, but it was a valiant effort.
So he's right now on Bachelor in Paradise, right?
He's no longer on the show. Yeah, he dated Demi, who was the woman who dumped him for another woman.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Yeah.
That's some fun. I love a lesbian switcheroo. I like a late in life lesbian. I like let's dabble in. I don't know. So, but I had my friend Sarah Colonna on, who's a big Bachelorette and Bachelor fan, and she said, you know, if somebody had brought their spouse, I mean their boyfriend or girlfriend from outside the Bachelor Nation onto the show and then got them to be a participant in the show, wouldn't that have started some shit? Because a lot of people always have like that secret girlfriend or boyfriend. They weren't totally broken up, and the girlfriend or boyfriend is like, "Hey, it's okay, go for it," and then they get bitter and doing like an Us Weekly article.
Yeah.
So the fact that
every season that
you know, but they heard like she's has a girlfriend, and they're like, "That's great," and they brought in the girlfriend. And do they end up together?
I actually honestly don't know because the finale's tonight, and I left before like the engagement day.
Okay.
So I really don't know.
Do you ever think there's been any like possible, because I have been secreting 2 things in the Bachelor Nation world for a while. You know about secreting, right?
No.
Where you like envision what you want.
Yeah.
Like you probably didn't know it, but you probably envisioned you being the bartender.
Yeah.
You can actually make a vision board. I've never done it.
Yeah.
I just think it in my head and like pray.
Like manifesting it.
Yes.
Yeah.
One is that a bachelorette that bones all 3 guys will find out that she's pregnant, and she won't know which one it is because it's like days apart.
Yeah.
And then we have to see what the baby is.
Yeah.
And then, you know, in the meanwhile, she tries to sue ABC and Chris Harrison for child support because they put her in this position.
Yeah.
And then we get a DNA test. Okay, and then we figure it out. We go from there.
Best like after the final rose episode ever.
The baby that she's carrying is not the guy she picked.
Oh,
it was the one that she was like second choice or third choice.
Yeah.
So now he comes in, and what are we going to do? 3 men and baby.
That would be so good.
Next series.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one thing I've wished for. The other thing I've wished for is 2 guys start fighting about their bunk bed situation in the Bachelor, and they start getting really pissed, and it starts getting aggressive, and then they start making out.
Okay, so the second one, I don't know if it really happened, but they alluded to it happening on the season before mine. So I guess that was Caitlin Bristow's season. And it was like two guys who were like super close.
And then they'd like fight, right? They got like...
No, like they were just like taking showers together. Like that, it was something like that.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember names. I mean, there's so many.
I can't either.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so like that happened. Your first thing with like the baby mama drama is so good. But I've heard, so I've never been to a fantasy suite, but I heard that like in the fantasy suite there's
a
like,
ton of condoms.
Yeah, like lube, toys.
But I'm gonna hire someone.
Yeah, just to poke holes in all. Yeah.
To poke all the holes with a safety pin that's like a PA.
Yeah. I love that. Like, there used to be a show. Should I not love that?
No, love it. We have to make this happen. I do celebrity predictions too.
Yeah.
And that's so good. I don't really, it's not a prediction. I'm just trying to manifest it.
Yeah, I'm right there with, that's so good. But there used to be a show that was like, it was a scripted show that was like about.
Yeah, yes.
It was called like Unreal, I think.
Yes, Unreal, yeah.
I stopped watching it because it was like weird. But like.
What do you mean weird?
It was just weird for me.
Much?
It was just weird for me to watch it.
Because it was so on the nose?
Not really. They were right about some things and like really wrong about some things.
You know what's interesting is when I talked to Shep after, like, I think after the show, after he did my show, he was like talking about like some scripted ideas he had, and he kind of had a behind the scenes type of show idea like that. And I've always thought that would be really interesting for like Housewives or something, like to kind of do a scripted show like that. But we were both saying like, yeah, maybe networks don't really want that because it kind of jeopardizes their other shows that are reality by like doing Magic Revealed.
Yeah.
Do you remember that show Magic Revealed?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the best thing ever? I know all the magicians wanted. For people that don't know, there was a show on Fox called Magic Revealed, and like one magician was like, "Fuck it, I'm going to show everybody how to do these tricks." And he had a mask, and I mean everything from like cutting a girl in half to like a tiger. They would explain how it was done, and all these other magicians in Vegas were like trying to find out who he was and like wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like Unreal was sort of, exposing all of that.
Yeah.
And it maybe kind of then pulls the curtain for the audience a little.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what I thought was like super wrong with it. I remember like in the first episode of Unreal, they pull up, they're in like a chariot or like some weird. And the girl gets out and like falls or something, like cut, redo, and then that's you never stop. Like that would never happen in The Bachelor. Like if honestly, if they fell, that would be the best thing that happened all night.
Yeah, right.
Like that's the bit.
Yes.
That's like on the trailer tease. So I remember
what about
being
all
like
those lame costumes? And how like someone will come in a car or a horse.
Yeah.
That's got to be the producers being like, hey, are you willing, since you're an equestrian, are you willing to come in on a horse? Hey, are you willing to come in a dolphin outfit and squirk as a dolphin? I mean, that's got to be a collaboration between the guest and the contestant and the people.
So I remember, because mine, I had a shticky thing too.
What was yours?
I got out of the limo with All for One, and they sang "I Swear" to JoJo. And which is funny because
I don't get it. All for One.
That band, and I swear.
And you come out singing it.
So because I was the radio DJ, so I got out and I was like, "Hey, I'm Wells. I'm a radio DJ in Nashville, and I found that like the easiest way to tell someone how you feel is by like the majesty of song or something like that." And then I was like, yell like, "You boys ready?" And then they like all get out.
Oh, the actual band?
Yeah, it's like three a cappella dudes, and they get out and they start singing "I Swear," and she's like,
so how did that come
I
about?
love this song. And I'm like, you're 25. You've never heard this song before.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing that drives me crazy about The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Is when, and I've talked about this on the show, when they're like, and I'm trying to think of like who it was. God, it was some guy that's like definitely like 62 years old, okay? Yeah. That like I kind of remember, but like certainly not some 24-year-old. I can't believe that double, multi-level marketing, whatever, winner of this rock and roll album, so-and-so that I've never heard of before is here singing for us. Yeah. Like, how can this, and I'm like, oh, come on. You can't have a 60-year-old. Oh, Karl Marx. What is that name? Wait.
Oh, no.
Yes. You know who I'm talking
Yes,
about.
yeah, he
Something
played.
Marks.
Yeah,
Look it up. Something Marks.
yeah. And what's song?
And you see the brown hair.
Yeah,
And he's like, he's great, but come on.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that like
But
that's.
then there was another time they all went to like Vegas, all the guys.
Yeah.
And they met that other guy that has like the horrible facelift, that is like a major singer, and he's got like his gross
Wayne
Vegas house.
Newton?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're like, we
Is it
can't
Richard Marx?
believe that we're seeing Richard Marx.
Yeah.
I can't believe that Richard Marx, double platinum album winning Richard Marx, is
Yeah.
here to sing. I'm like, come on, like you're 23 years old.
I don't really know how that stuff works, but I assume for working in radio for so long that the label rep, the label's like, hey, we'd love to have,
Right.
you know, Richard Marx on to sing his famous 1970s ballad to a studio audience. And I'm sure like they figure out that. For like
Yeah.
my situation, so like they come to you kind of sequestered for a couple days before the show starts. And you're just kind of like meeting all the producers and everyone's trying to get a feel for everyone,
Yeah.
I think. And then they would come and be like, hey man, what do you want to do? Like, have you thought about what you want to do for like when you get out of the limo? And I was
Right.
like, well, I'm the radio DJ. Like, I don't know what kind of strings you guys can pull, but I think it would be super dope if you were able to call up Jason Isbell and he was able to like sing this like really cool love song that I like a lot. And they were like, great, no one knows who Jason Isbell is, so let's figure out someone that like we can actually work with. And like that's kind of how it was like kind of my idea, but then they were like, and also I don't know if it was like a label being like, hey, we really want to have Wolf for One make a comeback, so if you guys have anything. And I think that when I said that, they were like, oh, maybe that's how we'll
Can
do it.
match it
Yeah,
up.
but it was my idea in theory, and then they were like, yeah, let's see if we can. So then we like worked on it together.
And then, speaking of like you being the Nashville radio host, I know I talked about it before, but how did you end up on The Bachelor? Did someone submit you, or did you see it, or did you go on your own to pursue it?
So it's kind of a long story. So
Can you make it shorter?
yeah, my brother was a casting director. Like saw him in a bar and was like, this dude is crazy. Like everyone surrounding him loves him. Got to know my brother really well. He went through the entire casting process. It's a long process. So at the end, by the end of like the casting process and getting into filming, at that time he like found a girlfriend and was like, hey guys, listen, I'm dating this woman.
This is your older brother?
My oldest brother, yeah. And so this was like 6 years prior. But my
Right.
brother's like one of those dudes that like is friends with everybody
Yeah.
and like never loses a friend. It's so weird. Like I'm quick to burn bridges, I think, but he's like still like texting with this, you know, this casting director from like 7 years ago. And when I was in the radio, I used to do a bit where I'd go on audition. I'm not an actor at all. I'd go on auditions and then like kind of intentionally bomb them. Because like I would go over the stupid like meow mix lines with like my co-host, and I'd be so excited, and the next day I'd be inconsolable because obviously I didn't get it because I'm terrible at.
What were you really going on auditions, or was all
Yeah,
of
like
it?
this was like YouTube era, so I was like making. I was just trying to figure out like what the hell to do with like my career, you know, like whatever's gonna stick. So I was like doing all these, and I'd never get the commercials. And then my brother was like, "Hey man," because I became single, and he was like, "Hey man, do you want to go like do the Bachelor thing?" And I was like, "Whoa, this will be so funny if I go and do this audition."
Just to be able to talk about it the next day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like too douchey for like this show.
Yeah.
And then like effectively I was not too douchey. I was perfect for them because I went in super laissez-faire. Like, I remember getting there, and everyone was in suits because they were like trying to like emulate like what I would wear getting out of the limo, and I was like wearing like that jean jacket or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, let's go, guys. And they like had me do. They sit you down with like a camera and they ask you questions, and then I at some point just was like started doing. They were like, what's your radio bit today? So like I had my show already like planned out in my head, so I was like doing my radio bits for them.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, this guy is. They were just laughing. It was only take 15 minutes. I remember at one point I looked at my watch or my phone, and it was like 45 minutes had passed, and I was like, ladies, I gotta go back to work. And that's when they were like, so what's your availability like in March? And I was like, whoa, okay. So the one audition I got, I guess. So that's kind of how I got on the show.
And your parents and your brother, everybody's happy with it?
Yeah.
The way your life's turned out?
I think that the like tabloidy stuff, my parents aren't don't love so much.
Now, what kind of scandals have you been involved in?
None really. It's a lot of like, Wells says something racy on Sarah's Instagram account, and it's like, like silly like sexual innuendos on the comment section. But like they can write articles about anything. You know? And I I made a joke on one of my podcasts about, because her parents are very liberal and my parents are very conservative.
Okay.
And I was like, they're never going to meet until the wedding, because that's just like, don't need that. Like, total joke. And then it became like this whole story. And then, like my parents like, are you embarrassed by us? And it's like, no, it was a joke. Like, if you listen to that episode, I was kidding around. Like, I don't care if you guys meet. It doesn't really matter to us.
Have they met?
No, but they will soon.
And, okay, so wait, I feel like we did jump around a lot. First of all, a couple more questions. What did you think about the guy in Hannah's season who she chose that was an aspiring Nashville singer?
Yeah.
When you see someone like that, isn't it pretty obvious why someone's doing the show? I mean...
Yeah. What was weird about it was that he was like he was pretty honest about that.
Yes.
And I was amazed that she didn't see that as a red flag and be like, whoa, dude, like the fact that you're admitting this is
and the whole family was like, don't pick him.
Oh yeah.
They're like, no, not, he's got a lot to do. You really want to be in bars at night and da-da-da-da. And she's like, yes.
Yeah, no.
And
I also feel like the sister was like mean mugging her the entire time. And because I have sisters, if I was dating a woman and like just went to Barbados with her, wherever the hell they went, like right before the show, and I guarantee you my sisters would be like, hey, Hannah, just so you know, totally was dating someone a couple weeks ago, just so you know. Like,
right.
My sisters would have said that. They wouldn't have been like, I don't know if this is a great idea, and like been awkward about it.
Yeah.
So I feel like the family didn't help.
One thing I didn't understand in that, though, once she discovered that he had been with this girl before, what I watched was he was like, yes, it's true, but I love you and I want to be with you. And I was like, wasn't everyone probably like balls deep in someone else before they went and walked out of the limo? Like, come on. Like, I kind of was just, I felt like she was like almost she wanted out. Like, she was almost looking for a reason to get out because... Yeah, I wasn't totally honest, but now he's like, well, I love you and I don't want to go back to her, so I'm sorry I wasn't fully honest, but I want to be with you now.
Yeah, I don't know if, like, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube after that for her. Like, it was... I don't really know Hannah that well. I met her the first time last night, actually. But, like, just from watching the show, she seems like a very, like, powerful and... prideful woman, which is awesome. And I think that when that happened, I was like, I don't think I can come back from that. I think that's how she felt.
No, she came off great.
Yeah.
Throughout the season, like I wasn't like when I was like, and then I was like, no, I really liked her. I really like how she stood up to the ultra Christian guy. I can't remember his name.
But she kept that dude Luke S on for way too long, though.
Yes. Now with that, and you may not be able to reveal this. In those situations, don't they kind of say to the person, like, look, we know you like, A and B. If you could keep D for just a little longer, we know you're never going to pick them, but you don't care about C or E either. So could you keep D a little longer so we can have some juicy scoop here and some stuff?
I don't know. I really don't. I can see how that could be a possibility, especially like for like my season. It seemed pretty obvious that JoJo was like laser focused on one guy, and then I'm sure it was just like, well, I gotta keep that guy, I guess, and that guy, I don't know, that guy's funny.
Can we just keep some fun people, like interesting people?
So I could see how that could be a thing. From what I've heard from everyone in Bachelor world that was all on her. Like, she kept him because they had like a physical connection, and I think Lucas was the anti-Jed. It was like, we're not sure why Jed's there. Might be for his career.
Jed's the Nashville singer. Yeah.
That Nashville singer. But like, it was very evident that like Lucas, the Bible thumping kind of
dick
psychopath, was like there just for her.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think in her mind, she was like, well, I got to keep around the one guy who I'm like pretty
100
positive is going to like be there at the end.
Right.
You know?
Which I don't blame her for that either when you think about it. And then what did you think about now Tyler following in your footsteps and dating Gigi Hadid?
I'm all for it. I think it's awesome.
And now you know about Mike dating Demi Lovato.
Yeah, I don't know if that one's like confirmed. Or not.
I'm making it happen.
Yeah.
I'm secreting it.
You're secreting it out there. Yeah, like,
But I thought I thought he could have been a good contestant too. I mean, a good main bachelor too, because they haven't chosen him yet, right?
yeah, they're announcing it tonight. So by the time this airs, it'll be out there.
Okay, well, I predicted, how long ago, Kelly? 2 months ago, when the show was on, I predicted that it would be Pilot Peter.
Yeah, I think you're right. I actually don't know.
Like before, like there were 8 people left, and I said it's going to be Peter the pilot.
I know. Why did you say that? That's interesting to me.
Because I just felt like he was the most genuine, and
Yeah.
I think they like genuine bachelors. They don't like those seem to work better than who was the it's okay.
Juan Pablo.
Yeah, when they're super douchey like that,
Yeah.
I think that the women get angry. They like really do like seeing the real romance, and I think that Peter the pilot is like a genuine person.
Yeah.
And like really and gets his heart broken, and so I think he'll really. And then also when you take a guy that's like not a player and you put him in a player position,
Yeah.
it's kind of a cool thing to watch too.
Yeah.
Of like, how can they say no? You know what I mean? Like, how can they not juggle 18 girls?
I like that he's got a job. Like, I don't think he's gonna stop being a pilot after this whole thing.
Yeah,
too.
you have a skill that can't go away. Yeah. Which is good too. You're right. Well, they had the other pilot. Remember the other pilot from years ago? He had like a bubble butt.
Yeah.
What was his name? Jake. He was kind of a dick.
Pavelka.
Sorry, Jake. I met him on a little show once, and he was perfectly nice. But yeah.
I just like when you start thinking of all the amazing teasers that they can have for this, the Pilot Pete one makes the most sense. Like, all aboard for love, or like, you know? You know, like, you got a first class ticket to Pleasure Town. Like, there's gonna be so many of those things.
Yes, totally. Oh my God, it's so funny. Yeah.
But like going back to Tyler, I mean, I think that they probably were considering, like, I don't know. You never know.
Tyler would have been good.
You never know who's going to be successful.
Because he
like,
was hot, but he also like came from like a nice normal background. Like he was still like respectable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know who's going to like be a fan favorite. And so I think that they didn't see that coming. And then when he started dating maybe Gigi like a little too openly, then it was easy for them to be like, it's not our guy, you know?
Yeah, right.
But
I thought that was great too. Like, hey, you're giving, and I thought, oh my God, what if Gigi is like sitting around with Bella and Kendall and is like, hey girls, that's who I'm going for. He's the one picked for The Bachelor. And guess what? He's going to give it up for me.
Yep.
And then like just have fun with it. But then in the end, they really fall in love.
yeah. It seems, I don't really know, but
Yeah.
it seems like they are pretty... Dude, he went to her grandma's funeral. How crazy is that?
Well, wouldn't you if that was your girlfriend?
But yeah, but like...
And you could chop on a private jet. It's not a big inconvenience when you're super rich to
True.
do stuff like that.
But you gotta
You're
be
not
pretty
like a
close.
college kid having to like, you know, scrape up $600 to fly to the girl that you've been dating's grandma funeral.
Yeah, but I think you gotta be... that, I think, shows how serious your relationship is if, like, one, he's getting asked to go to,
Right.
like, Denmark or wherever it was for the funeral.
Yolanda's mom. Was it Yolanda's mom?
I don't
Ooh,
know.
Juicy.
Also, those pictures, like, they're, like, smiling and stuff. Like, it's, like, the great event. It made me feel really bad.
Well, I mean, it depends how old the grandma is. We saw
Yeah.
the grandma in Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and yeah. Oh my God, what a small world. Okay, so let's get back to your romance.
Okay.
So now your second season
Yeah.
as the bartender, and that's when you start talking to Sarah.
No, so this is my Thursday. No, so we started talking during, I guess, the break between the first and the second season.
Okay, when was like the finally like let's talk on the phone and set a date and meet in person?
It's really interesting. We're coming up on it in a couple days.
Okay.
So, unbeknownst to me, she was getting this kidney transplant a couple years ago. So we had been talking for a while. It was a very funny like progression. She definitely like kept me at arm's length for a while. Like first it was like texting, and then it went to voice notes.
Oh.
And then from voice notes we like inched into FaceTiming, and then it became time for like us to like actually meet. So this is like, over probably like a month or two. And so finally I get a text message from her, call, and she's like, hey dude, you need to come to LA in the next week, or like this isn't gonna happen for a while. And I don't know what she's talking about, but looking back, she was talking about she was about to have a kidney transplant, which is gonna put her out of commission for a long time. So, and I'm just like kind of one of those guys who are like, it'll work out. Like the universal workout will work for me. And so she was like, but seriously, it needs to happen before Tuesday. And so like this was maybe.
But she doesn't tell you why?
No.
Okay.
She's just like.
And at this time you're in Nashville.
I'm in Nashville. And so this was a week before. This was probably on Monday. She was going to have the surgery the following Tuesday. So like I'm like, it'll work out. Don't worry. And then literally the next day, I remember being like in the garage of iHeart and being like, it'll be fine. And like getting a call like a couple hours later from the Hero Dog Awards, which is a thing in LA where they give awards to like service dogs and stuff. And at the time, and I still do, but like at the time I was like super into the Nashville Humane Association and like trying to get dogs adopted. So they were like, dude, we want you to come to LA and present for the Hero Dog Awards. And I was like, dope, don't know what that is, but yeah, book a flight. And so then I remember calling her and be like, told you, worked out. Like I'll be there on Thursday to do the Hero Dog Awards. And like fast forward months down the line, she was like retelling the story, and she was like, it was so romantic. He got his people to like figure out how to get him out to LA. What the fuck you talking about? His people? I don't people. I still don't have people. It just fucking worked out. So I fly out to do the Hero Dog Awards. So I'm wearing a suit, and it was like my first like night of like, whoa, famous people are all around me. And I sat next to Topanga. You know,
yes,
from
I know
Topanga. I was like, whoa, dude!
Yeah,
like so excited. And she was like presenting, and so I'm wearing a suit, and I go up and I do my thing, and then afterwards, Sarah and I were supposed to go get a drink, and she's like, "Hey, dude, I'm at this party. There's no."
Did she call you dude like that?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And she definitely calls like other guys. She calls a lot of guys dude.
Okay.
But she was like, so. There's no bars open for drinks. Just come to this party I'm at. And I was like, okay, where's the party? And it just happened to be like right down the street. So, I don't know. Have you ever been to the night before the Emmys party?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I didn't know what I was walking into. But the night before the Emmys party is like the party that like every famous TV person is at.
Right.
So I walk up and like Joel McHale's like making fun of me, like, what are you doing here? And you know, Johnny Galecki's like talking to. So I go into this party and it's all.
Did you have to be on a list or anything? Or
she came out and like gave me the wristband. Luckily, I was like still in the suit from the Hero Dog Awards.
Yeah.
So I go in there and I was just like, whoa, man. So it was very much like a trial by fire. Like the first date was like, let's see how Wells handles all this. And the Stranger Things kids are running around. The Game of Thrones people are over there, and you know, smoking cigarettes with like half the cast of whatever show, and it was just bonkers.
Yeah.
And so that night, she was like, where are you staying? And I was like, oh, I'm down the street. So she's like, well, I got a car, I'll give you a ride. And then we made out in the car ride back. And then the next night was...
Wait, like with a driver there, or just the two of you?
With the driver was in the front seat. His name was Derek, still remember his name.
Okay.
And I think I jokingly was like, Derek, let's whip it around again, guy. We don't need to be here so soon. But he didn't do that. And then the next night was the Emmys, and I was leaving, like, I think the day after that, so that was our only opportunity to hang out. So she went to the Emmys. They were nominated, but they didn't win. So once they didn't win, she got up and left, and then came to my hotel, and we hung out for the second night.
So she shows up in her Emmy outfit?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And it was fun. It was the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Yes.
So the Emmys...
Where was your hotel at?
No, that's where I was staying.
Oh, the Hero people put you up there? Oh, this is so great.
Yeah, so I didn't know, but like all these...
parties and everything,
were happening around me. And so we were just at the bar downstairs, we have a drink, and then we made out again, and then 2 days later, she had her kidney transplant, and so...
So when did she tell you about that?
I think that night was like, just so you know, this is... Oh, no, she told me the night before the Emmys party.
And you had no idea that she really had health issues, or you didn't really know?
I think I knew that she had a kidney transplant.
Mm-hmm.
That was well known, but that was 6 years prior
Yeah.
to that date, so I didn't really know what was going on. And then it was a lot of like me flying out and like visiting her in the hospital and FaceTiming her when she was on like a lot of Dilaudid, and you really get to know someone deep down at their core when they're like have a lot of morphine pumping through their veins.
I mean, that's a lot to take on. Was there any point that you were just like, maybe I'm not equipped for this, you know, or where she was like, maybe this is too much for you or anything, or you just?
I don't know. I didn't have that vibe about it. It was so early. Like if you think, I mean, knowing the timeline now, I hung out with her and made out with her just for 2 days before this all happened, you know?
Right.
So I think I was just, it was too early to be like, whoa, this is too much for me, you know?
Right, yeah.
And then like the more I got to know her and more that we spent time together, everything changed. But what was really funny about it is we weren't really allowed, I'd come and visit her, but we weren't allowed to like really hook up, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So it was like a lot of like high school
Make
out, like grinding. Like that's what
dry humping. That's my favorite.
It's the best.
It's the best. That's so great.
Yeah,
that's like probably, so you really got to know each other really well.
Yeah.
And then when did you guys say I love you?
It was, she was still recovering, and her parents were staying with her, like taking care of her, and her brother was also living there because her brother gave the kidney to her. So I think she was like, here's a couple dollars, go to a movie, get the hell out of here.
She says that to you or the
No,
people,
to
the family?
family.
Oh.
So we like hung out all night. I think I like made dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I've fallen in love with you or something like that. And she was like, I don't think I can say that yet. And then it was like 15 minutes later. She's like, okay, I can say that now. And so that it was,
Aww.
yeah. So that's
and then how did the engagement happen?
We were on vacation down in like the islands, and there was like this kind of, we stayed at this really nice resort, and then like off the coast of the resort was like this tiny little island that you could go have picnics on and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I planned a picnic out there, and
Did you plan to ask her there?
Yeah, it was.
So you had the ring with you?
Yeah. Which was crazy too, because I had
Do you
been
think
filming.
she knew?
I think so, but then I threw her off like the last second.
Yeah.
But it was kind of stressful because I knew I wanted to do it when we were in the islands, but I was filming Paradise from basically June 1 to the end of June, and then we left for this vacation on July 3rd. So I had to get everything done before I went to Mexico. So I was talking to Lorraine Schwartz about like what I wanted, what she wanted, and like I've got like a window of 2.5 days when I come home to get the ring, and like how are we gonna do this?
You didn't want a Neil Lane.
What? I didn't want to Neil Lane. I was told that was not on the table also.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, so I got there and I went to the like the people who planned those like little excursions.
Yes.
And I said, hey, listen, I need whenever the soonest I can do this, I want to get this rock off my hands immediately. When can
Now, when you're like traveling with a big ring like that,
it's terrifying.
where is it? Like in your backpack the whole time, and you're just like holding me, like not letting, like, because you can't like stick it in your
No, I know.
pocket.
I had it in my drone. I brought my drone.
Oh.
And I bought a drone and like got good at drones because my whole plan was I wanted the drone to video this whole thing.
Okay.
So I had it in my drone case, and then I didn't know this because I was a novice at droning, but when you go to a different country and you go through customs and they see a drone, that's not cool with them, and they have to inspect it. You have to fill out all this paperwork. So we get there and customs is like, there's a drone in there. we got to search it. And so Sarah's right next to me, and I know that if she sees that box that says LS on it,
Yeah.
I'm shit out of luck.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, no. So I say to the guy, I'm like, hey, man, can we do this in another room? Which I'm sure is the most terrifying thing to say to someone at TSA.
Drugs.
Yeah, he's like, what? Okay. And so he's just like, let's bring in the cops or whatever. So we go into this other room, and I'm like, sorry not to freak you out, but I've got an engagement ring in there, and I don't want that, if that gets opened up in front of her, then like the whole thing's blown. And he was like cool with it. He's like, yeah, you're fine, whatever. Sign this piece of paper and get the hell out of here. But there was a moment where I was like, this is going to happen in the airport, and I'm going to have to do this. Like, this is going to be like the worst rom-com thing that's ever happened, you know?
Like sweaty off a flight,
Oh my
not
God.
looking cute. Yeah.
So stressed. And then, and I'm sure she was like, why are you putting your drone in the safe every day? Like, no one cares about your $300 drone, you dork. But
Yeah.
I was like, this thing's not going to safe, okay? And this is just for me. You can't put any of your shit in there because they took up the whole thing, you know? So anyways, finally I'm like, hey man, I need to take the boat out to the island. I want to get engaged. And I talked to my brother, and he was like, the drone idea is great, but you need to have a photographer there. And if you don't, you're going to be in big trouble. So I was like, oh, okay. So I got the people to get from the mainland, the photographer. And I was like, he's got to hide in the bushes.
Yeah.
And then when I fly the drone, that's his cue to come out, because that's when I'm going to start. That's when I'm going to get down and do it. And so this poor guy named Yoshi was hiding in the bushes for like an hour waiting for us to get there. And I was trying to play it cool. So like we had some wine, like a charcuterie board. And I was like kind of like doing it. And then finally I put the drone up. And it was so funny because Sarah was like, dude. So I was like, we're going to take a picture, like a cute picture. But really I was videoing it. And she was like, the case is right there. Get the case out of here. It looks like shit. It's going to be in the picture. I'm like, it's fine. The case is fine. And she's like, no, everyone can see the case. I put it over there. And I was like, no, I might need another battery. She's like, how long does this thing stay up in the air for? And I was like, I don't know. This drone thing. So this is going to stay right there. And she was like, no, get out. I was like, just let it go, lady. And then so finally, so she's like, you know, in the whole video, which no one's really seen, she's like cheersing the thing, and I'm getting down, like getting it, and then finally she looks down and is like, what the hell are you doing? And then she was like, oh, this is happening now. And so that's when Yoshi like
jumped out,
spider monkeyed out of the bushes. I'm like, and that's what happened.
That is so cute.
Yeah.
Do you guys have, I know you can't say, but do you have plans? Like, do you have the date and all that?
Not really. I mean, I think it'll happen. It's not going to be like a 3-year engagement thing, but like both of us have never been engaged before, and hopefully this is going to be the last time we're engaged. So I think we would kind of want to enjoy being engaged a little bit.
Yeah.
And because I know that she is hands-on with like everything she does, I don't want it to be too stressful too early in engagement. So not really. I mean, it'll happen. Yeah, it'll eventually happen, but we don't have like a date set.
Do you feel like the fans out there are supportive, or do they think that you're not good enough for her?
I would say probably they shouldn't think I'm good. I'm not good enough for her. To be fair. But Bachelor Nation is weirdly like powerful.
Yes.
You know.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I just wondered if you like.
I don't.
Hey, you're pretty likable as a whole.
Yeah, I don't blame people for
thinking
thinking
that. You've never broken anyone's heart in the franchise, so I think that's why women will like you.
Yeah, I agree with people thinking that, and like that doesn't hurt my feelings. But for the most, everyone's like super supportive.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're cute, you know.
I think you're cute. I think you're real cute. So you have your radio show with Brandy, your podcast with Brandy Cyrus. Mm-hmm. And we went through like a whole thing of like their family, because I didn't realize that Brandy Cyrus was Billy Ray Cyrus's stepdaughter, but adopted her.
Yeah.
Because Tish had her and Trace, who's the heavily tattooed guy.
Yeah.
And then they had Miley.
And Noah. And there's another brother.
Noah, and then there's Bronson, who's a cranberry farmer. We looked that up.
Yeah.
Which is great. I love cranberries. Not
Yeah.
everyone can be, Miley. Who cares?
Yeah.
And then there's this other one, Chris Cody, that he had dated really briefly his mom, and then started dating Miley's mom, and then they were only 7 months apart. Chris and Miley.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's some juicy scoop history that not everyone knows.
Wait, Chris dated who first?
So Billy Ray
Yeah.
was married to a woman that got divorced.
Yeah.
Then he dated this other woman, and what was her name? I wrote it all down. Anyway, then he wrote this other woman, and then they very briefly, and
Yeah.
they broke up, and then he met Tish,
Yeah.
who is Miley's mom. Then she got pregnant with Miley.
Brandy.
No, Tish, yes.
Yeah.
But then Tish got pregnant with Billy Ray Cyrus's baby, which is Miley.
Yes, okay.
But what he didn't know is that the girlfriend before Tish was also pregnant
Oh.
with a boy named Chris.
Whoa.
And so they were only 7 months apart. But that Chris wasn't really raised with family because it was like he was never married to that woman, but he financially supported him.
Interesting. I didn't know about that guy.
And how do you feel about Miley and Caitlyn Carter being the new Lindsay and DJ Sam Ronson?
Yeah, I think I just want them to be happy, to be honest with you.
Do you have any inside scoop?
If I did, I could not reveal it here. But
Hot Girl Summer.
Hot Girl Summer, like, they look good together.
I mean,
I gotta say that. And it's another, like, reality TV person dating someone way out of their league, by the way.
yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So this revolution is just growing. What's crazy is that, like, Caitlyn has co-hosted my podcast with Brandy before, and it was like a month before all this news broke, and I was like, guys, why didn't you fucking release this then? Our numbers would be crazy.
Wait, but do you think they were seeing each other then when she co-hosted it with Brandy, and that's why she was asked to do it because she was hanging out with Miley, whether it was not serious at that time or not, or what?
From what I understand about it all is that the way that they're all connected is that Brody and Liam were really close because they had like go surfing together and stuff.
Liam Hemsworth. Okay.
Yes. And so like that's how they all became. That's
so amazing.
I think I could be wrong, but I think that's how it originated. It was they were all friends. So I think they've all known each other for quite some time. But I don't know like when they started hooking up or whatever. But all I know is that Miley and Caitlyn seem happy, and that's all that really matters, I think.
Sure, and I mean, who knew? I followed Caitlyn already on Instagram because I was, I like to follow these people. But I mean, yeah, everyone knows who she is now,
Yeah.
And so I love it. I'm here for it. It's juicy as fuck.
Yeah. It doesn't really surprise me, too, because I remember there was an article a while ago where Miley said that she like identifies as
queer, right?
as queer, but she's in a hetero relationship.
Yeah.
With Liam, and so when this all broke, I was like, oh yeah, that doesn't really surprise. This is hopefully
no, it's totally not
me.
surprising that she would dabble in the lady pond or have a lesbian relationship or whatever you want to call it. I mean, she was also in an intimate relationship with teddy bears. Remember when she was humping all those teddy bears on stage? So, yeah. She's just like a real sexual, fun girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see what was it, the Black Mirror? Mm-hmm. Did you see the episode where she did the Black Mirror?
Yeah, it was great.
That was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love her music. I love it all. I'm here for it. Doesn't seem like Brody seems sad about it at all.
No, he's dating someone.
Yeah.
He's dating Jose Canseco's daughter.
Oh, that's who he's dating?
Which, by the way, her name is Josie Canseco, which is the most Jose Canseco thing in the world to do, is almost name your daughter the exact same name as you.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, she's like a supermodel, and she's super hot. I think everyone... And I don't know what's happening with Liam, but I've met him. Very good-looking gentleman. He's going to be doing just fine, you know?
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, it seemed... Their theme to be weird, that, like, and then all of a sudden they got married. Like, that seemed weird and rushed. when Miley and him got married.
Yeah.
I remember like it was the Noah sister, the little sister that like was the first to post it. And everyone was like, what? They got married?
Yeah.
Well, you've been a real delight. I'm really excited for you and your life.
Thank you. You too.
Are you sure you're going to continue to be the bartender?
We'll see. It's a year-to-year thing.
Oh, speaking of the Bachelor in Paradise. So the girl, what was her name? Kaylin? Kaylin, who was with the guy with the 70s mustache.
Yeah, Dean.
So Dean left, and I thought that was all real juicy, where he's like, I'm not the boyfriend for you. Like, I don't even want to do this. Like, whatever. And he's gorgeous. And he leaves, and then she was sad.
Yeah.
But I've been watching. Now he came. How did they get back together? Because now they're in a van together on Instagram. So what happened?
He comes back and
with his 70s stasher shaved.
No, so you got to watch. The episode's so good. Like this is why the show is so amazing.
Okay.
Only Bachelor world could make shaving a mustache like an oh shit moment. And so like he comes back and he's like, I've changed, and this is how you know I've changed, and he's shaving his mustache off. It's just so stupid. And then he walks on the beach, and like in the most Dean fashion ever, he's wearing all black, long pants, like black shirt. It's 7 million degrees on that beach, and he's like walking in all black. And then he goes up to her and basically says, I made a mistake, and I do this with my relationships. I don't let anyone get too close, and I got to stop doing this, and I want to leave with you.
And at that time, she's not super into anybody else.
No,
still?
she was into Connor, who is really good looking and like 6'5", but he has terrible vocal fry. So I'm sure it wasn't like the hardest decision in the world.
That's who she started to like at the wedding when they go to the wedding. Yeah. Okay.
But what's funny about like that scene is, I think that even Dean, as good looking as he knows he is, didn't think he had, a popsicle's chance in hell of getting her to leave. And so he's like, I'm asking you if you'll leave paradise with me. What do you say? And she says, okay. And then his response is, really? Like, what? Which was hilarious because, she was dating that Connor guy who's very good looking.
Do you think they were boning, her and Connor?
I don't know, because I just don't think the timeline doesn't make sense. Her and Dean, the reason everyone's upset about it, but if you start thinking about it in terms of like who she spent more time with, like she was with Dean the entire time.
Right.
And then effectively was with Connor for 4 days. So they hadn't gotten to that point of like really, I don't know, progressing their relationship.
Is there like a special boning room? How do they find a quiet place to bone on Paradise?
Yeah, there's a room called the Boom Boom Room.
Oh, okay.
That it's gotten very
sticky.
It's very sticky. you put a black light in there, man. It's gonna look like a Rorschach painting. Like a murder scene in there.
Oh my god!
But yet, you have to say, "Hey, I want to go to
requested."
and everyone has to be compliant. And
you have to sign paperwork.
Not really, but you have to be like, "Yes, I want to do this."
And also being the bartender, a lot of things changed, right, with the drinking after that controversy between, I forgot their names, but they thought that she had maybe was taken advantage of, but then in further investigation, I guess she hadn't.
Yeah.
But they did have to like pull back, right? There's like a rule now, like a maximum. Is there a maximum? Because you're there all day. How do they really keep track on how much you're drinking?
I keep track.
Oh, you have to keep track.
Yeah.
You have like a little thing where you're like 1, 2, 3, 5.
Yep. There's a binder.
Really? That's a lot. That's a lot to kind of have on your shoulders, I think.
Yeah, for what they pay
while
me,
you're trying to be funny and everything, and you're trying to like give advice. And how long is the whole thing? Whether if you came the first day until the final day, how long are you there?
It's about 28 days. It always changes, but it's usually the entire month of June.
So if you're there for 28 days,
yeah,
what advice are you giving the girls whose eyelash extensions are looking like spiders having sex on their face?
Yeah.
What do you tell them? Do you help them separate them? Does a girl come in and fix it? Do they just pull them off in like a moment?
I think they rip them off and then they reapply new ones. I don't know, but I feel so bad for the women in comparison to the men, because the men don't do anything.
No.
They very rarely shower. They just put on their shorts,
right,
and then they're like, okay, let's go. And the poor women, like, they know they're on TV, so they're putting on so much makeup, but it's so hot, so their face is just melting in the middle.
Well, that's why you get the eyelash extensions. But then also, if you have hair extensions, that's a big nightmare.
Oh yeah.
You've also got to, like, you can't blow it dry, so you got to accept that it's going to be like frizzy.
Yep.
Then, you want to be tan, but at the same time, you really got to watch not getting sunburned, right? And then, what about the mosquito bite situation? Is it controlled, or are people walking around with like really bad bug bites on their legs?
Yeah, I mean, you know how everyone's different. I never get bug bites.
Oh my God, they love me.
But yeah, like, so Sarah, like, we'll be in the same area, like at dinner,
yeah,
and I'll have nothing, and Sarah's will be just like covered in bug bites.
I know. Sarah and I are extremely delicious.
Yes, exactly.
No, but it's true. It's something in your blood type or something.
Yeah.
Because I'll be the same way with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the same thing happens in Paradise. Like, I don't think I ever had an issue, but poor Haley Ferguson, one of the twins.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was a minefield over her. Like, so bad that I think she was like, I want to leave because of the bug bites.
Yeah.
So, like, some people have it bad and some people don't. I mean, behind the bar, I've got sunscreen and I've got bug repellent, and I'll be the first to be like, you've had too much to drink, you need to slow it down, you sound like an idiot. Or I'll be like, you are tomato lobster face right now, please take the sunscreen and put it on. Or I'll be like, you've got bug bites everywhere, here, take this. So.
And then what was really funny is when you were imitating the John, what's his name, Paul Jones,
yeah.
When he was trying to explain to the girl.
Yeah.
Oh God, what happened to him in the show?
You got to keep watching. This story hasn't ended yet, but
he's entertaining.
That guy's. It's so crazy to me that they find people that are just so, like, authentically bonkers.
Yeah.
And he is just like that.
And I think it's probably harder to find people nowadays because the longer a show gets on, the more the person applying has really become an expert, and they maybe can't help but, try to manipulate something to get on and not be truly authentic. So when you do find someone that's just like, is not acting and is being like when he came up to the love of your life, Derek.
Yeah.
And he was like, you're just trying to get content for your podcast. I was like, oh my, I kept bringing up the podcast, and then I filmed it, I put on my Instagram story, and I'm like, wait, what about Juicy Scoop? Why do you mention Juicy Scoop? He keeps mentioning Derek's podcast. What about mine?
And we all made that joke, because a bunch of people have podcasts, and I was like, hey, can you rip on my podcast real quick so this makes air? And of course, like, Derek's his podcast is like number one because of it.
Oh my God.
So, good for him.
So is Derek still single?
Yes. I guess I can say that, yes. He's single now because he gets dumped on the show.
What about the other guy? He came on my show, Chris, the one that
Bukowski?
He had a podcast too, but he was like a villain. Oh God, what the hell is Chad.
Oh, Chad. Yeah,
what happened
he was
to
on
Chad?
my season. I mean, he's done like every reality show you can. He did like X on the Beach, and I think he did like Relationship Boot Camp or whatever.
Yeah.
And
he came and did my show, and he was pretty interesting.
He goes on like crazy Twitter rants, which I think are hilarious.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't affect me really, but like he just is savage on Twitter about the Bachelor stuff, and I think it's more of him just being salty because he's just not part of the world anymore. But
he was entertaining, and I was just like giving it to him, and he's all about fitness and everything, and then he was smoking cigarettes.
Oh, I know.
And I go, what are you doing smoking? Like, I hate to be like the mom here, but like, isn't that kind of like defeating the purpose? Like, oh my God. So where can they listen to your show?
It's wherever you listen.
What's it called?
It's called Your Favorite Thing Podcast. Wells and Brandy, and it's the dumbest thing in the world, but people seem to like it. It's just like 45 to an hour's worth of us talking about like what our favorite things are that week, so like binge-worthy stuff, or new music that we think is cool out, or Instagram follows, or I think it's just like a resource for people.
I like it.
We read a lot of books, so like a lot of book reviews and stuff, and then also it's getting into her life, because her life is bonkers.
What's her life about?
Well, like she's a DJ, and a very talented one.
Like DJ at a nightclub?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
She used to be in a band, like they're the Partridge Family. Like it's so weird, but she was in a band, and then she was also like Miley's backup guitar player in her band for a while, and on Hannah Montana. But now she DJs around, and she's so amazingly, weirdly normal in comparison to like everyone else in the family. And everyone else in the family is super wonderful, but like they're just all like characters amongst themselves, and she's just a pretty normal person. So like hearing her stories, and like it's a lot of I'm postmating Sugarfish, and then like the next one's like, so I'm getting on Miley's jet and we're going to Lake Como, and you're like, whoa, those are two different, like huge different things.
And how did the two of you hook up to make this podcast?
We were set up on a blind date like years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it didn't work, but like it was a fun time. It was very much like friend vibes right off the bat.
And when you were set up, you knew that you were meeting Miley Cyrus's half-sister?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it was funny because it was like right when I was getting cast for the show, and I was like telling her like, I don't know what this is. Like, what do you think? Because she had done a reality TV show with her mom, and she was like, I don't know, dude. Good luck. And that was kind of funny. So.
Oh, I remember they had like a redoing a house.
Yeah,
like
it's called Cyrus versus Cyrus.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, by the way, her mom, by the way, aside from the fact that is one of the hottest women I've ever seen.
I've met her
in my entire life. She is so cool and super smart. She's like a Kris Jenner of.
Yes, in fact, that's where I met her at Kris Jenner's Christmas Eve party, and she and Billy were there.
Yeah.
And like they had separated a while, and they got back together. So this is right when they had like reconnected, which was kind of cool to see. I don't know if they're still together, but
yeah, they are.
They are. That's nice. I like that.
But yeah, so and then we became friends, and at the time I was doing CHR, which is like top 40 like pop radio.
Yeah.
And so they wanted me to put together a show for like late night syndication. And I was like, well, if I bring in Brandy Cyrus, I think this will have a chance to like be a thing, because Brandy obviously is part of the zeitgeist of pop music.
Yeah.
And at the time I was like doing a lot of Bachelor stuff, so we were doing these shows together, and for whatever reason, iHeart never wanted to pick it up, which was fine, but we all had all this content for a podcast, and then we just started the podcast. And
How long you guys had it for?
I want to say 3 years now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, tell Sarah I said hi.
I will.
I'm excited to see her new show, and we'll enjoy the last season of Modern Family. It's been such a hit and so great for so long.
No.
And I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
You're all grown up.
I know, I'm all grown up.
Congratulations. You scored. Good luck to you. I hope to continue to see you as the bartender, not taking Chris Harrison's job.
Yeah. No one can replace that man.
Yes. Very good. Awesome. That was so fun.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.